Before we get into this breaking analysis regarding a potential return of the greatest defensive player in franchise history, please hit that like button on the video right now. It really helps us get this information out to more fans. Also, I want to know exactly who is tuned in today, so drop your name and which city you are repping H-Town from down in the comments section below. I want to see if we have the global fan base active today. Now, let's dive straight into the situation that has the entire league buzzing. The ripples from Philip Rivers making a shocking comeback to the Indianapolis Colts after 5 years away from the gridiron are being felt far beyond just the AFC South standings. When a move of that magnitude happens, a 44-year-old quarterback stepping back into the fire, it naturally prompts questions for other recently retired legends. I have been monitoring the chatter around the league, and one name that inevitably came up in these conversations is none other than the face of the Houston Texans franchise, J.J. Watt. It is a scenario that sounds like fan fiction, but when Watt himself addresses it, you have to listen. I was watching closely during the CBS pregame coverage when this topic was broached to Watt. The question was direct. Could he, after being out of the league for 3 seasons, actually suit up and perform at an NFL level right now? His answer was not the deflection you might expect from a retired player enjoying the broadcasting booth. It was a calculated, confident assertion that I believe holds real weight based on what I know about his current physical conditioning. Watt made it crystal clear that if a team needed him for 20 pass rush snaps a game, he could absolutely deliver a sack. He admitted that the recovery, what he called tomorrow, would be hell, but the capability to disrupt a quarterback is still there. This distinction Watt made is crucial for us to analyze. He isn't claiming he could return as a 65-snap every-down defensive end. He knows those days are behind him. I have spoken to conditioning coaches around the league, and they all agree that the stamina required for a full workload takes months to build. However, the role of a situational pass rush specialist is different. It is about explosion, technique, and instinct, 3 things J.J. Watt has never lost. When he says, "You want me to come in for 20 pass rush snaps right now?" Absolutely. I'll give you a sack, no question. That is not arrogance. That is a Hall of Famer assessing his skill set against the current offensive line talent in this league. Let's look at the data, because numbers never lie in this business. We are not talking about a player who limped into retirement. In his final season with the Arizona Cardinals in 2022, Watt was still a premier disruptor. My sources within the Cardinals organization have always maintained that Watt played at a Pro Bowl level that year. He posted 12.5 sacks in 16 games. That was his highest sack total since his 2018 All-Pro campaign right here in Houston. He retired on his own terms, leaving production on the table. At 36 years old, he is significantly younger than Philip Rivers, and his time away from the game, 3 years versus Rivers' 5, suggests his body has had time to heal without losing all its muscle memory. However, the reality for Houston Texans fans is that this remains a hypothetical, albeit a fascinating one. I've been told by people within the Texans building that the phone isn't ringing for Watt, and frankly, it doesn't need to. This is where we have to give immense credit to General Manager Nick Caserio and head coach D'Amico Ryans. They have constructed a defensive front that does not require a savior from the past. When you look at the tape this season, the duo of Will Anderson Jr. and Daniel Hunter has been arguably the most potent edge-rushing combination in football. They are commanding the line of scrimmage in a way that rivals even the prime years of J.J. Watt's tenure. I think it's important to contextualize just how dominant this current unit is. While the idea of adding Watt as a designated third-down pass rusher is tantalizing, it presents roster management issues. Who do you take off the field? The Texans are leading the league in defensive metrics because of the continuity and motor of their current starters. My analysis suggests that low Watt could physically do it. The Texans are in a championship window where developing their young depth and relying on their current stars is the priority. Anderson Jr., specifically, has taken a leap that many scouts told me they expected, but perhaps not this quickly. He is wrecking game plans. That being said, let's play the what-if game for a moment, because it is the job of a general manager to explore every avenue to improve. Hypothetically, if you dropped a fresh 36-year-old J.J. Watt into this specific defense, strictly for third and long situations, it would be a nightmare for opposing coordinators. Imagine an offensive line having to slide protection toward Will Anderson Jr. on one side, deal with Daniel Hunter's speed on the other, and then see J.J. Watt lining up over a guard or kicking outside. Even at 80% of his prime capacity, Watt's hand usage and swim move remain elite traits. It is a fun theory, but right now, it stays a theory. The irony of this entire news cycle is that while Watt stays in the booth, his draft classmate and old rival Philip Rivers is actually stepping onto the field. And where is he going? To the division rival Indianapolis Colts. This adds a layer of drama to the end of the season that you simply cannot script. Depending on how the next few weeks play out, we are staring down the barrel of a Week 18 matchup where the Texans' league-best defense, the unit built in Watt's image, could be facing a 44-year-old Rivers with the AFC South potentially on the line.
I've heard from players inside the locker room that they are aware of the noise. They know the Colts are desperate, bringing in a retiree to try and save their season. It highlights the divergent paths of these two franchises. The Colts are looking to the past to solve a current crisis. The Texans are firmly rooted in their future, led by a defense that is young, hungry, and violent. J.J. Watt built the culture of defensive dominance in Houston, but Will Anderson Jr. and Daniel Hunter are the ones carrying the torch now. Watt's comments on CBS confirm that the fire still burns with him. He is a competitor, and competitors always believe they have one more sack in them. But for now, he seems content watching his former team dominate from the broadcast booth, knowing that if he ever did decide to strap on the pads for 20 snaps, he'd likely back up his talk. The connection between Watt and the city of Houston remains unbreakable. We saw it during his Ring of Honor ceremony, and we see it every time he speaks about the team. But as for an actual roster move, don't expect the Texans to follow the Colts' lead. They are confident in what they have, but this certainly adds spice to the conversation as we head toward the playoffs. I want to hear from you guys now. Do you think the Texans should make a call to JJ for a playoff run, or is the current roster too good to mess with?